Hello, Snake. It's been a while, hasn't it? I hear you've been causing quite the ruckus in Nicaragua. Nothing much to report from my end. The legacy's being put to good use. Or so they tell me. But enough with the small talk. There's something I need to tell you. You saw the photo that came with this tape, right? The boss gave that to me 10 years ago. I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. I probably should have told you right away. But sending it to you hasn't been an easy decision to make. It's taken me 10 years. Once you've heard what I have to say, you'll understand why. That photo belonged to her. I know what you're thinking. What does she have to do with this? You've probably seen it 100 times in the press already. Obviously, it's of the Mercury 7, the first group of American astronauts, the heroes of Project Mercury. But there were actually 8 people in that photo. One of them was edited out, erased, without a trace. That 8th astronaut, the one airbrushed out of existence, that was her, Snake. Now, why did they need to keep her existence a secret? What were they trying to hide? The answer goes back even further. 17 years ago. It was the height of the Cold War. The Eastern and Western blocs were racing to develop space technology to match their nuclear arsenals. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite. The Americans were stunned. They'd been led to believe their country led the world in science and technology. That shock quickly turned into fear. If the Russians had the know-how to launch a satellite into space, they could use it to launch a nuclear missile, too. Frantic, the U.S. threw everything it had into the space race. The following year, the Army succeeded in launching the first American satellite, Explorer 1. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration was established that fall, and Project Mercury with it. The goal was to send a man into space, and 7 men were chosen as pilot candidates. The media dubbed them the Mercury 7. They were immediately hailed as national heroes, icons of Western space exploration. But after Explorer, America suffered a series of failed rocket launches. Desperate, the government made a fateful decision. Unable to wait for its space program to mature, they'd steal the Soviets' technology, at the same time sabotaging their space program. You know better than anyone how hard a mission that was. The Soviet space program was shrouded in secrecy. Recovering that information would be no easy task. Using the help of an insider, they'd insert a sleeper agent into the research institute, or else recruit one of those insiders to do the job for them. And, if necessary, the mission leader would have to go in and sort things out themselves. Someone was needed with experience, knowledge, and superior intuition. And the only one for the job was the boss. The president himself asked for her by name. He needed someone who could be trusted with the fate of a nation. Who else to turn to but the hero of the Second World War? It was June 1959. So you see, Snake, that's why she left. That was the top secret mission that took her from you. But her selection ruffled a few CIA feathers. They didn't appreciate the president going over their head like that. The mission was tough enough already, and now the CIA was dragging its feet. She couldn't get anything out of them. No manpower, no information. Left to her own devices, the boss made a decision she knew would come back to haunt her. She decided to tap into the Philosopher's Network. And that's when the wheels of fate began to turn.
長え。これ全部聞いたら1時間くらいかかるんじゃねえか。ちょっと待て。そしたらまた一回ちょっとストレンジラーにもうなんかラジオだけでもうさ半分以上
Is it really necessary to make machines think like humans? I think empathy would get in the way of making the decision to retaliate.
I admit, human thought may not be fully compatible with level-headed decision-making. Then again, is there such a thing as non-human thought? The moment computers became so advanced that they could calculate faster than human beings, a new dream was born.
Dream?
If we can create a machine that can do advanced mathematics, why can't we create one that can think like a human? The 19th century author, Auguste Villiers L'Isle-Adam, wrote a book called Tomorrow's Eve, in which the protagonist fashions an artificial woman to serve as his ideal lover. I believe the idea of creating an intelligent being with our own hands is one of mankind's oldest dreams.
So AI is a product of people's dreams, then?
Not only AI, civilization itself is the process by which mankind gives form to its dreams. But not all dreams are pleasant. Some have expressed fears about non-human intelligence.
Yeah, they want the benefits with none of the risks.
Some fear that intelligent robots might rise up and rebel against their human masters, as portrayed by the Czech writer Karel Čapek in his Rossum's Universal Robots, or in the 1970 film Colossus, The Forbin Project, where intelligent supercomputers in the US and the Soviet Union join forces and plot to subjugate humanity. Isaac Asimov offered a specific solution to these fears with his 3 laws of robotics, which demonstrated that while robot intelligence is different from that of humans, the two can coexist. In order to endow computers with intelligence, we must first have a thorough understanding of what intelligence is, and that is where the need for a practical and feasible expert system arises.
So what's an expert system?
The AI housed within Peace Walker began development as such a system. An expert system is a type of proxy program by which a computer makes decisions as an expert would. The program, Mycin, for example, is a system that decides which kind of antibiotics to prescribe. The system asks the patient a series of questions to narrow down the range of appropriate drugs.
So you program Peace Walker to prescribe live nuclear warheads instead of penicillin.
What I realized, however, was that a simple expert system wasn't up to the task.
You need more than expertise to launch a nuke.
Indeed, expertise is a necessary prerequisite, but insufficient on its own. Deciding to launch a retaliatory strike requires consideration of a wider range of factors. In such a scenario, the entire global situation becomes the criterion for making a decision.
Makes sense. You screw up the prescription and the whole world goes into anaphylactic shock.
A weak AI that only has a limited range of knowledge upon which to base its decisions won't cut it. Therefore, I had the AI study the boss's thought patterns, thus creating a true expert system. A strong AI.
You couldn't leave the world in the hands of something with anything less than absolute worldview.
I could have built a simple expert system in no time at all. Say, how would you like a system that decides which guns you should equip according to the mission's parameters?
I'll pass. I'm not going to leave my life up to somebody else's judgment. Especially not a machine.
あと1個くらい聞くか。そしたらサイドミッション行きますか。いやーなんかもうメタルピースウォーカーさ、もう今25時間もう25時間以上やってるけど、絶対半分以上、そのうちの時間の半分以上がラジオ聞いてるよね。まあ英語の勉強になるからいいんだけど、それにしてもすごいね。
With current technology, AI are inevitably enormous in size. But as circuit integration continues to advance, they will become even smaller. As small as human brains, and perhaps smaller than that. And in the meantime, robotics will continue to advance as well, to the point where we can create androids, robots that resemble humans. And then...
And then what?
Well, I don't need to spell it out for you, do I?
Don't tell me you're thinking of making an android imitation of the boss.
Surely the thought has crossed your mind as well. of one day being reunited with her?
Enough! I don't want any part of it.
I see. I didn't mean to offend you. In reality, AI is more likely to evolve in the opposite direction anyway.
増えた。まあちょっと一回いいかな。いやー、凄まじい量だな、それにしても。ちょっとまあ、グレートリカバリーいきますか。まあ、もちろんこのままでいいかな。いやー、全クリするまでに35時間くらいはかかりそうだね。なんとか最長記録が、待って、のんびりしてられない。What the hell? 待って、これヘルメットかぶってる。かぶってない。これライフル使うか。時間ねえわ。
I heard gunfire! We're under attack! Going to alert status!
Understood. Maintain heightened alert.
I heard gunfire!
まだいる。
Here he is!
What the hell?
Go! Go, go, go!
ちょっと待って。
Go, go!
待って。そこに人もなんか俺バレたってるんですよ。バレまくってんだ。一緒。急いで回収しよう。なんタイムペナルティ。
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
なんでディスガイスしてる。
Fulton recovery helicopter is complete.
もう全員回収しよう。わかんないから。
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
これで終わった。
Head for the recovery zone. We'll pick you up there.
なんかよくわかんないけど終わったそう。
Fulton recovery helicopter is complete.
これバレまくってんね。さっきこれ全然。どこにあんの？どこに？ここにいたかよ。なんかおかしいと思ったんだよね。
Mission complete. Great job.
ミッションはもう一瞬で終わる。ラジオは全然終わらない。本当にラジオの量が凄まじいな。こんなはずじゃなかったんだよね、ピースウォーカー。10時間くらいでサクッと終わるだろうと思って買ったけど、まさか30時間近くやってまだ終わりが見えないと思わなかった。やったー。なんかすごい。これってまた俺が好きな銃じゃない？これスコーピオンだよね、これ絶対。スコーピオン先輩じゃないですか。なんかめっちゃ増えてるし、人。なんかこの音楽すごいターミネーターみたいな。免 素晴らしい。大体2回くらいミッションに行かせたらさ壊れるよね。人だけでいけるかな。人だけでいけるこれ。もう行かせっか。結構人いっぱいいるからどんどんもう行かせるか。さすがに A プラスとかは絶対無理だけど、まあ、B プラスくらいだったら人だけで送れそうだね。ブラボーチーム行かせてみる。結構こんなタレントが来てるし、みんな頑張ってじゃん。いやーでも足りないかこれ。俺の大きさがなのにこれじゃ勝てない気がする。いけるかな。ちょっと頑張っていかせてみる。よし、ここら辺もあとはもう A だもんね。A はさすがに乗り物ないと絶対無理だから。あとはフルトン作りたいのか確か。あ、これ絶対作るでしょ。あとは別になくてもいいか。いつになったら出てるんだろうね。その前にもラジオ聞かなきゃいけないし。メインミッション増えないね。いつまでたってもサイドミッションやれってことか。これ行きたくないな。お、タンクバトル来たんじゃないか。タンクバトルやるか。タンク欲しいし。
Commencing mission. You're in for some heavy combat with this one. Try and make it back in one piece.
Destroy tank. OK. その前にちょっと一回ミッションプレップだけしとくか。バトルスーツ。バトルスーツ一択だよな。チップレーションカレーメイトこれでいいとして。どうすっかね。どうすっかね。正直マシンガンよりさ、これ使いやすかったよね。RPG こっちとこっちどっちがいいんだろう。こっちの方がなんかいいんだよな。フィンターあんまりRPG2 つ持ってるか。スタンスもじゃあ別になんかあんまいらないかな。サプライメーカーストライクメーカーからあればいいか。ああ、AT マインね。AT マイン欲しいな。これ関係ないもんね。だってね。さあ聞きますかラジオ。これを聞かないともう先に進まないんだよ。ここもいいし、あと残ってんのがそのストレンジラブのやつと、エヴァのやつか。これか。
The opposite direction? What does that mean?
More and more, AI are becoming systems that specialize in mass information processing, without human intelligence, thought, or emotion. A machine that has no individualism or sense of self, but rather behaves as a collective, exhibiting the qualities of a society.
Like a beehive.
Yes, it aggregates data collected by individuals and determines how the collective will act, just as honeybees travel between the hive and flowers. The key to achieving that will be networking AI together.
I don't know how to say this, but that kind of gives me the creeps.
But if your goal is to control society, it's the better model to use. It lets you filter data, disseminate only what you want disseminated. Of course, I myself have no interest in an AI without a shred of life to it.
Earlier, you called the mammal pod a butterfly. Not a pupa or a cocoon, but an imago.
Yes, the AI that came before the mammal pod were works in progress.
Works in progress.
They were enough to keep the frame running, but not enough to make decisions about nuclear retaliation. They weren't quite complete. They were pupae. Only when I added the boss's data did the AI take on its true form, becoming a butterfly and taking flight.
And that's why the nose art on Peace Walker was a butterfly.
I gave the mammal AI the code name BS Imago. BS is short for boss.
必ず増えるな。
Huey called that gigantic unmanned chopper a chrysalis. Is that another one of your AI code names?
Yes, you're referring to the TJ Chrysalis 6000. There's also the GW Pupa 5000, the TR Cocoon 7000.
I get it. A hovercraft type and a treaded type. And those letters on the front. TJ, GW, or whatever. Those are initials.
Correct. The initials of the American presidents whose faces are carved into Mount Rushmore.
Then you're missing one.
I assigned that one to the reptile pod. AL Aurelia 8000.
Aurelia. Another word for chrysalis. A pupa just before it emerges.
All of the initials, except for BS, were of Coldman's choosing. I chose mine from the storied ranks of British royalty. MS, AV, EW.
What do those stand for?
You can't guess. Why, Mary Stuart, Alexandrina Victoria, and Elizabeth Windsor.
All queens. Of course.
Are you familiar with the film 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I've heard of it, but...
Of course not. I didn't expect you to be cultured enough to appreciate such things.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway...
2001 features an AI called HAL, a highly advanced system that controls an exploration spacecraft. It can converse with people, and even play chess.
Huh. Now where have I heard that before?
The way HAL was portrayed was truly superb.
How so?
HAL is given secret orders that not even the ship's captain knows about. Naturally, he's not allowed to divulge them to the crew. The stress of it causes HAL to crack.
Crack?
Go crazy. Though there are those who interpret it differently. One by one, HAL kills off the crew until the captain finally shuts it down. The film offers amazing insights into AI, their growth, their utility, their faults, and their fear of death.
Well, you must have found it useful in your research then.
Must you always be so utilitarian? It doesn't matter whether or not it's useful. What matters is that it inspired me.
Then it was useful.
Never mind. The portrayal of Hal wasn't the only wonderful thing about the film. It was full of hints about the future of human evolution. Truly, a film for the ages.
やったー、やっと終わった。ひゅー。あとはエヴァのやつだけか。よし、じゃあ行きますか、ドンパッチ。イエーイ。ちょっといい感じで息抜きしながら。よし。
worry about the tank. Just focus on the troops. They're trying to find you. Make sure they don't.
前に近づいてる。どこに近づいてる？多分ここら辺に近づいてる。行ったらバレるか。バレたんだけど。
Main cannon ready to fire! Take base!
I'm done for!
だか
Move in!
Back at it, boys! Cover me! They've okayed the request for supporting fire. It should commence any second now. Cover me!
Move in!
結構きつい。
Back at it,
Go
boys!
around! Move in!
弾ですよ。弾ってやばい。マジか。やばいし。
Around them! Main cannon ready to fire! Take the punch! Take base!
Go around!
Back at it, boys!
Move in!
強くなってる。
Fire!
'Move in!
Arms ready! This will take the punch! Take base! They're about to commence the requested supporting fire. Stay clear. They've okayed your request for a cardboard box. It'll be sent out shortly. Fire! Armed and ready! They've okayed the request for supporting fire. It should commence any second now.
こうなれば
That's gotta be the leader. Can you take him down? Enemy leader neutralized. Mission complete.
やばいね、この選手。 硬すぎだろ。硬さが尋常じゃないんだけど。メインミッションどうやったら出んのこれ。すげえ増えてる人。R&D かこの人。もう人いっぱいだね。あんまり。え待って、やっちゃった感じじゃないこれ。R&D コンバットチームからする誰か R&D が食った一つ強い。人いっぱいだね。コンバットもいっぱいだし、メディカルとインテルが足りないのか。素晴らしい。みんなすごいな。何時ですかね今。3時半。どっちもクリアになったのさ。すごいね。やるね。まだ残ってんのものさってさ、A プラス A プラスとかなんか無理だよね。なんか作るか。持ってるやつだね。おお、スコーピオンだこれ。 きや。作ってね。全部作った。ドルスやなんか。別にな、これあんま使わないっしょ。楽しんでるのか。ちょっと精鋭を送ってから何もなしでいけるか。これくらいだったらいけそうじゃないか、意外と。アルファチームちょっといかない。ここに精鋭を送り込むか。今いけるかな、これ。いやー、いけんのかな。結構ギリギリだよね、これね、大きさ的に。ちょっと頑張って生かしてみるか。意外とみんな強いからね、いけるかもしれない。どうやったらメインミッション出てくんのこれ。ずっとサイドミッションばっかりやってんだけどさ。メインミッション出てくる気配が全くないんだよね。なんかパスとデートしろってやつやんのかな。全く出ないんだけど。ターゲットプラクティスやりたくない。面白くない。なんかここにも増えてんだけど。パスとデートしろ。これやんなきゃいけないの。
Let's get this mission started. Complete the mission and proceed to the Fulton recovery point so we can get you back alive and well. Good luck out there.
バトルズ一択だろこれ。
The enemy has launched an attack now that they know where our base is. The time for hiding is over. We have no choice but to fight back. Be sure to select equipment that focuses on defensive power rather than camouflage. Who knows how long this all will last, so do not forget the rations. But as we are on the defense, we have the advantage. There's no reason to panic. The enemy will be on the move, so they cannot stay hidden forever. A sniper rifle would be a safe means of slowing their advance, depending on the sniping position, that is. We could also plant mines and C4 along projected movement routes. I do not really like fighting dirty, but protecting our compass is more important.
久しぶりのアマンダさん。全然メインミッションが出てこないんだけど、どうやったら出てくるの？サイドミッション何個かやってれば出てくるのかな。あとエヴァのやつ聞かなきゃいけないね。その前にちょっと一回準備すっか。フルと持っていけない形か。どうすっかな。別にいらないもんね、ここら辺。全部いらねえな。レーションとかに、レーション、カレー。あ、そっか、カレーって1個しか持ってないのか。チームレーション。メイト持ってるか。ここら辺別にいらねえよな。サイコとかどうすっかね。AT1いらないな。 あー、スタングレネード持ってってみるか、一応。スタングレネード。あ、これしか持ってないのか。スモークとかいらないよ。ちょっと待って、どうすっかな。あ、M37 なんだ。あとはまあ普通にアサルトライフル。あ、そっか、これ新しく作ったやつ。これ火力不足だな。これじゃあマシンガンくらい持ってるか。まあこのマシンガン使いやすいからこのマシンガン。よし、これでいきますか。で、ブリーディングファイルを頑張って聞きますか。長いんだよな、これエヴァのやつ。よちょっとじゃあこれ2つくらいは聞いていくか。
The Philosophers were a secret society of power brokers formed in a pact between the US, Russia, and China in the early 20th century. Of course, by that time, the American and Soviet branches had already parted ways. But there were those among the remaining Russian philosophers not entirely happy with the one-party communist state. The boss reached out to them. She arranged clandestine meetings in Berlin, hoping to find a way into OKB-1, the Soviets' premier design bureau. She worked tirelessly to win their sympathy, in some instances using huge sums of cash, in others, by helping them over the Berlin Wall. It was a dangerous game to be playing. The philosophers had everything on her, and not just information either. She'd given birth to a child on the battlefield, only to have them immediately snatch it away. I know she told you that story. If that child was in the hands of the Soviet philosophers, she'd be putting more than just herself in danger. But she did what she had to do. At the time, the Soviet Union was believed to have an arsenal of missiles far greater than that of the United States. If that proved to be the case, Moscow would be free from the yoke of nuclear deterrence, raising the possibility that the Soviets might actually launch nukes if they felt it necessary. As you know, the so-called missile gap turned out to be a Soviet bluff. Moscow had gone to incredible lengths to perpetuate the lie. In fact, the whole space race was really just a part of an elaborate ruse. Only we didn't know that at the time. She used to joke that even she swallowed the whole missile gap story, hook, line, and sinker. She put her life on the line, for the sake of her country, to prevent nuclear war. And it was because of her sacrificial efforts that America succeeded in placing a sleeper agent inside OKB-1. NASA began to receive huge volumes of technical data from the Soviet program. By the end of 1959, they'd succeeded in sending a chimpanzee named Sam on a ballistic rocket flight. The rocket never left the atmosphere. But all the same, it was a huge success for NASA, restoring confidence in its technology. Then, just when the operation was starting to produce results, the CIA came calling. "You're a war hero," they said. "No need for you to dirty your hands with this sort of black ops. We'll take it from here." In effect, they wanted to reap the rewards for themselves. But the boss didn't object. "My part is over," she said. "I don't care what you do with the data now." It seemed as if NASA was making great strides toward manned spaceflight while the Russians lagged behind. They even got a report from their mole at OKB-1. "The safe return of Sam has sent our scientists into a panic," he said. Soon afterward, the Soviet Union sent an animal of its own into space on Sputnik 2, the dog Kudryavka, better known to the world as Laika. But Laika was fated never to return to Earth. The U.S. can recover its spacecraft from the ocean upon re-entry. But the Soviet Union only borders the frozen Arctic. They had to bring their spacecraft down on land. How could they soften the impact enough to bring a living creature back safely? The agent reported that the Soviets hadn't yet found a solution to that problem. The plot to sabotage the Soviet space program seemed to be working, too. First, they tampered with Sputnik 4's re-entry. Then, 2 months later, one of their rockets exploded on the launch pad. They did manage to send 2 dogs into orbit aboard Sputnik 5 and return them safely to Earth. But the agent dismissed it as a fluke. Dogs, sure, but humans? They didn't have the technology. Everybody believed it. Everybody was complacent. Everybody. Except the boss. There was something about the Sputnik 5 schematics they were getting that didn't seem right. Some kind of ejection device on the capsule that didn't quite belong. She couldn't figure out the reason why it was there. What was it supposed to eject? NASA shrugged off her concerns. They figured it was probably meant to eject the flight recorder in case of an accident. The boss pleaded with them to investigate, but the CIA wasn't having it. They probably thought she was trying to reclaim some of the glory for herself. The boss wouldn't give up. She decided to head to the Soviet Union herself, alone, without any backing from the CIA. By the beginning of the next year, 1961, she'd succeeded in infiltrating OKB-1. That's when she saw the truth, for the first time.
ダメだ、もうちょっと今日はもう俺の集中力が限界を迎えてきたようだ。終わりだね、一回ね。今日は一回終わりにしよう。いやー、でもあとはエヴァのカセットテープだけだから、それ終わってメインミッションが全然出てこないから、一回終わりですね、今日はね。あとは明日明後日はちょっとバイトで忙しくて多分できないと思うから、しあさってくらいに続きを再開していこうかな。なんと5月中にはピースウォーカー終わらせたかったけど、全然終わる気配がないから、ちょっとね、しょうがないけど、6月、なんとか6月の上旬で終わらせたいね。